Okay, everybody, welcome. My name's Tino Hernandez, and I'm head of media marketing and communications at the trust that runs all of our wonderful schools, our family of 5 schools. I've got quite a number of parents who actually sent me messages or left comments on our social media on the I think quite difficult subject of the internet safety. So I thought rather than just do another post, we'd have a little interview. I could think of nobody better than our absolutely excellent, very experienced safeguarding manager, Sarah. So I've got Sarah. So welcome to the Zoom chat podcast.
Thank you, Tino.
Okay, great. I think your background's a bit better than mine. Mine's fairly boring. I like your paintings. But anyway, obviously, very, very serious subject, internet safety. I'm not about you. I've seen the reports of, unfortunately, people trying to take advantage of the situation with so many children at home. But one of the questions, or sort of the general questions, was this, which was, my children know a lot more than I do about internet safety. I don't really use the internet that much. So where do I go to learn about how I keep my children safe online?
Okay, it's a really good question, and that's really true for so many parents. This generation of children have grown up with the internet being part of their everyday lives, and their virtual world is huge, whereas for us, often we're still learning. In terms of first steps of learning, I would highly recommend Parent Zone, the Parent Zone website. It not only has fantastic fact sheets for parents, but it also has a great range of resources, videos and information sheets that encourage you to have a conversation with your child and share those resources. And it can be really, really useful to start conversations off.
That's great. Another raft of questions, and I can understand this. I'm not a parent myself, but oh boy, can I understand this, which is particularly around teenagers. Parents were saying, or I've said to me, that they're now at home. They're at home 24/7, apart from a short period of exercise, and they're going to go and use their iPads and other devices online. So how do you talk to maybe teenagers about online safety? Because I guess it's not quite the same as perhaps talking to a primary age child.
Absolutely, it's a lot more complex. The key is actually getting the conversation starting in the first instance. And I would say the important thing is to show an interest in what they're doing. Ask them to show you what they're doing online. Ask them to share things that they enjoy and think are good. Let them be your teacher in the first instance. And through that, you can then open up conversations around what may worry them, what they're concerned about, and what they perceive as the risks. And actually, our teenagers are very savvy and very aware in a lot of ways, and often they will point out things to us that we haven't noticed. And that then creates a really good opportunity for you to come in with your life experience and point out some of the concerns and risks and vulnerabilities that your child might not have identified.
One of the questions which came in via one of our Facebook posts is this. I'll read it to you. It's my child wants to join a social networking site. It doesn't say which one, but says, but they're not yet 13 years old. Should I let them?
Okay, so yeah, again, really, really frequent question. What I would say to you is those age restrictions are there for a reason. They are there because those sites have vulnerabilities and dangers. I would always recommend that a parent tries out any form of social media platform themselves before giving permission to their child to join it, regardless of age. If your child is underage, I would advise you not to allow them a profile, but you may want to consider a joint or family profile, which enables you to supervise and get involved with your child connecting with their friends or peers.
Okay, that's really good advice. Another question I had, this was from Twitter, kind of related, and again I can see the issue here is, should I let my child play a game that is age related, but it's for older than they actually are, and they say all their friends are already playing this game and it's harmless to do so?
Okay, so what you're saying is that it has a PEGI rating older than the child's actual age. So in that situation, what we would always advise is that you look at it in the same way you would for a film or anything else that comes with an age expectation. You recognise that those recommendations are put there for a reason, and you assume it is unsuitable. And again, you may wish to go on and play the game yourself. You may wish to look at it for yourself so that you can actually then have that conversation with your child about why it may be unsuitable. And again, you may decide that some form of supervised engagement with the game, perhaps you playing with them, is something that within your parenting you're happy for. We can't advise it, but I know that's what some parents decide as a compromise, and I would certainly recommend that above simply allowing your child to play the game.
Moving into, I think, a territory we probably need to talk about is, what are some of the signs, perhaps, that maybe somebody's trying to, I don't know what the technical terms, but groom your child or get your child to do things online? I mean, you hear a lot about fake profiles and things like that. Have you got any words of advice for parents on that, Sarah?
Absolutely, and you're absolutely right with the terminology groom. Grooming is a huge problem. It is something that young people within our trust have experienced and are experiencing. It's something we're working with parents to support parents to feel skilled to tackle this. There's a few different things. It comes down in the first instance to what I mentioned before, which is conversations, which is creating an environment with your child where discussions around the internet, around online safety, are not confrontational, but are positive experiences where you talk and you share things together. Now, sometimes, inevitably, when you put in place the rules and say these are the boundaries and you can't go online, there is going to be some conflict. But it's about maintaining enough of that positive conversation that children feel happy coming to speak to you. The second thing is about actually upskilling your child, making sure your child is able to look for signs that things maybe don't feel quite right. And that can be about using the resources I mentioned at Parent Zone. There's also some fantastic resources currently on the CEOPS website, and they cover a whole wide age range from preschool right the way up to 17 and up. And using those to start those conversations is really, really key. Once you've got those conversations up and going, then it's far easier to spot the signs, because in my mind, one of the very first things that would be a cause for concern is secrecy. If your child is suddenly unwilling to discuss what they've been doing, if they suddenly want to have conversations, perhaps visit chat rooms or go on websites that they don't want to share with you, that is immediately a cause for concern. Often children don't recognise that they're vulnerable, but they do recognise the secretive element, and so any sort of secretive behaviour is immediately a concern. Secondly, being aware of the types of sites that your child is visiting. I would always be extremely concerned about children engaging in private chats, direct messaging with any individual. And certainly I would encourage you to teach your children that if somebody asks them to move their discussion from an open forum to a closed forum, that's an immediate sign of concern, and your child should know to come and have that conversation with you straight away in that situation.
Which leads me on to a couple of parents have asked, what do they do? Where do they go if they were to, say, discover something which they think's really inappropriate? What do you do? Do you ring the police? What do you do?
Okay, so in terms of concerns the young person may be being groomed or at risk of exploitation online, I would recommend visiting CEOPS website. They have a big red button.
Sorry, Jack, when you say CEOPS website, what is that? How do we find the CEOPS website?
Certainly. So CEOPS stands for Child Exploitation and Online Protection Service. And they are an organisation that consists of a number of organisations, including trained police officers. And their role is to investigate where there are concerns that a child may be at risk of exploitation or grooming online.
So you could go onto that website, and there'll be an email or something, and they can email somebody there.
So you just simply type in on any browser, and you'll actually find a link on most child-friendly web pages as well to CEOPS, CEOPS, and you will be taken straight to their homepage. In the middle of their homepage, you have a big red button. It says "Report it now."
Great.
You click on that and it takes you through a very simple, straightforward online form to help you report your concern. If you believe that a child may be at immediate risk of harm now, if you believe that the child is in danger, do not hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 999, let the police know. Just as in any other situation where somebody may be in danger, call the police. Often as well, parents have concerns around cyberbullying.
I was going to ask about that. We've had 3 questions about that, so perfect.
Yeah. What I would advise in that situation is that you can gain a lot of information from the NSPCC website. So CEOPS deals with online exploitation and grooming, but the NSPCC is your first protocol for dealing with cyberbullying concerns. Just some basic rule of thumb suggestions in that situation. If you discover that your child is being bullied online or is a perpetrator online, encourage your child not to continue to respond. Store a copy of the conversation, and please, whatever you do, don't get involved yourself as an adult responding to the comments that are online. Go and seek advice so that it can be resolved in the best possible way for your child and the others.
That's great. I just had one last question. Just one other point to make. Parents go onto our home learning website pages. There is a link in one of the boxes which says keeping children safe, and there's lots of links and resources there. I'll make sure, I'll double check, make sure the ones that you mentioned are on. That's great. My final question is this, different question, but we'd like to ask you different questions, is if I'm a parent now, I haven't really thought about anything in relation to perhaps online safety. It's not been an issue. Don't think it is an issue, but I've kind of seen you or seen some of the promotion and some publicity we've been doing. What maybe are the 2 or 3 things that the parents could maybe do today?
Okay, so first thing to do today is to start that conversation with your child. Find out what they've been doing today online, what they enjoy doing, and ask them to show you some of the things that they enjoy doing online. One of the small silver linings of this difficult time is we have a lot of time together, and this is a great time to start these conversations. The next thing I would suggest you do is you visit the parent's own website and start to get a feel yourself for the resources there. And using the fact sheets that they have on offer, I would suggest you then go and have a look at the parental controls that you have with your internet service provider, and as well as on your children's devices or devices that your children have access to. And make sure that you, first of all, know the level of protection that's there. And secondly, have adjusted it if you think that needs to happen. But my one major piece of advice would be, don't ever assume that just because you have good parental controls, things are safe. You still need to keep that awareness of what your children are up to.
So that's really fantastic. It's a very difficult issue, but there's lots of advice out there. So with a bit of common sense and a bit of being maybe proactive, we can help to keep the children safe. Thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem at all. Thanks, Tino.